Welcome to Subramani. One thing which I feel is completely wrong is the overemphasis which we give to people who sound confident. They may be wrong, they may be completely wrong, but we like people who open doors fast, who drive fast, and all those things which makes a person look very confident, like the Amitabh Bachchan of a movie or a Shah Rukh Khan of a movie or what have you, right? The very confident and assertive, and we think that these are the people who are successful. Yes, some of them are successful, but some of them are much better at projecting their success than being actually successful. And in investing, you should actually be rewarding a fund manager who is not very confident, who is constantly seeking approval, saying, I've done this, I hope I am right, these are the mistakes I have made. Humility is not rewarded at all, whereas their track record will be very good. Now take a person like, say, I didn't want to name, but like, say, Naren Shankaran. He talks a lot about his mistakes. I've had the privilege of asking Prashant Jain to talk at a Cafe Mutual event where he was called to talk about the mistakes that he has made. So fund managers should be willing to say, I did this was wrong, I reached the party very early, I left the party very late, right? So anything, could be a cement boom, could be a steel boom. You reach early or you leave late. Reaching early is less of an offense, and leaving late is a bad thing to do, right? So, and forget what fund managers do. They are managing other people's money. With us, when we are managing our own money, a little bit of humility goes a long way. Simply go and analyze the mistakes that you have made, and mistakes could be anything. Mistakes could even be putting money in a wrong company, or putting very little money when you're very confident, right? Any of those things, or not scaling up, buying 50 shares, 100 shares, and then stopping at that. Why did you not go on adding 100 shares every month if that's what you can afford, right? So many of these mistakes we make simply because we are overconfident, and especially with a little bit of success. You made a few lakhs or a couple of crores, or maybe even 10-20 crores, then you get more arrogant to think, oh, I know everything, right? That's one of the worst things that can happen as an investor. Overconfidence is something terrible. So therefore, what is the counter of overconfidence? Obviously it has to be humility. When you realize that most of the returns in the market have been gotten by you simply because you did not do something wrong, not because you did something right. You bought some shares, you inherited some shares, you have some shares, and you sat through bad times. Maybe that's a great thing, but that still does not make you a great stock picker, right? You picked up some stocks and you got lucky. You picked up Nestle and you got lucky. You picked up Colgate, you got lucky. And you didn't constantly compare yourself saying, is Colgate outperforming the Sensex, or is it outperforming iPro Discovery, or HDFC Top 100, or DSP Tiger? You did not sit and compare yourself with all those professionals and felt miserable. Oh my God, if I had just sold Colgate and bought Nestle, or if I had just sold Colgate and bought HUL, or if I had sold HUL and bought Nestle, what would have happened? You didn't make yourself miserable doing that. Like when you play cricket in the weekend, you don't say, oh, I wish I could bat as good as Sachin Tendulkar. You can't. You don't put in that kind of input, or Virat Kohli, or whatever, Rohit Sharma today. Right, so any of those people, you don't put in that kind of effort. Look at the effort that they put in. Maybe they spend 3 hours in the gym, maybe they do 2 hours of practice, maybe they go through some psychological treatments, they go to psychiatrists, they do sports psychology, sports medicine. Lot of inputs is available for them, and for them it's a profession. For you it's a hobby. So if you're investing as a hobbyist, don't compare yourself to a professional and feel miserable about it. Yes, compare the results, and if your results are very far away, there is no logic for you to try to do it yourself. But humility really helps. Culturally, we don't like to be told that we are wrong. We don't like to tell ourselves that we have made mistakes. So we try to hide, we try to be rational, saying, oh, on that day, because of those conditions, this is what I did. Fine, you did it, but accept your mistakes. In fact, one of the best things that about my portfolio is, many people ask me also, you talk about the profits that you make, what about the losses that you made? My losses are more in sense that I gave up positions very early. rather than taking losses too far. For example, if I bought a share at 70 rupees and tells me this is rotten because of these things, I'm happy to sell it off at 68. I will not wait for it to become zero. So my losses don't run too long, my profits run longer. And if I'm seeing a red color in my portfolio of a share that I pick, let's talk of, say, CARE rating. I bought it at 600 and now it is down to maybe 500 and odd, so obviously I am losing money. But it does not bother me much. I'm happy to buy, because once there is revival in the market, ratings will do well. And I was buying it on the way down. It had reached a price of, I think, 700, and I thought 600 was a fair price, but now it is 520 or 530. But I'm happy to buy more, so that does not bother me. What bothers me is if suddenly somebody tells me, no, this company is bad, it has governance issues and things like that, that I'm happy to dump it. So there I can't really lose much money. So even in this CARE, how much could I lose? On 5,000 shares, I would lose about 5 lakhs of rupees. That's not going to kill me in my portfolio, right? So we really have hardwired responses saying, oh, I can't be wrong, and how will I admit that I'm wrong, especially if I've got right very many times. But we are very short-sighted in our fears as usual, and so we would think, I mean, typical reaction is to say, oh my god, there is Ukraine war, so maybe nobody will come for rating. Yes, nobody will come for rating, but then after some time people will have to borrow money, people will have to get themselves rated, people will have to raise money in the market, they will have to raise money from mutual funds, etc. And for that you have to get yourself rated. They will go to CRISIL, they will also come to CARE. So this is my logic in buying it, and I am buying for the post-Ukraine war market. So I have a position in Indigo, in Mahindra Holiday Resorts, in Thomas Cook, all that, because I know once the war is over, or once the markets are better, or rather when people feel more confident about traveling. Right now you don't see too many people wearing a mask on the road. You see it in aircrafts, and even in the aircraft the crew is not pushing you too hard. Earlier I remember traveling during COVID time, people were pushing. So you have to be prepared for what is going to happen to the market after all this happens. And so we have too much of recency impact or myopia about, oh my god, now the world is going to come to an end, there is going to be a third world war, or the world is going to have COVID permanently, so nobody will travel. We get into that what I would call recent myopia, the recency effect, and all this is going to actually hurt you, because your so-called overconfidence comes from with all these biases. When you have so much of action bias, you have recency bias, you have myopia, you have confirmation bias. Like even if anybody comes and tells me that Nestle can't do very well, blah blah blah, chances are, oh, I already have it, so I don't have to take a decision when the price is 12,000, 16,000, 26,000. Doesn't matter, because my cost is very low. It's irrational, but we all do it. We know it's irrational. The advantage of studying behavioral finance is you know when you're being irrational, when you're being rational. So you can catch yourself doing that. You still may not improve, but you at least know the mistakes that you're making, and there is room for correction.